UAB works on a landmark study for Parkinson's supported by the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Dr. David Standaert is a UAB neurologist, and he is a researcher for Parkinson's disease. He joins us today to talk a little bit about this. It's good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
We've talked about this before when you've been on Good Day Alabama. The challenge when it comes to Parkinson's disease is being able to diagnose it and have early diagnosis of it, right?
Right. Right now there's no blood test for Parkinson's. There's no X-ray. It's really diagnosed just by a physician looking at you and forming an opinion. But that's not particularly accurate, and it's not a good way to diagnose the disease very early.
And later, I mean, not the latest stages, but it's usually as the disease has really taken hold at that point.
Right. So we don't have a good ability to diagnose the disease early on, and that's the best time to have a treatment. So what this study is about is trying to find a way, a blood test or a scan, which would diagnose Parkinson's very early in the condition and help us to monitor the course of the disease, which is what we need to do to find a cure for this.
Okay, so you mentioned this is funded by the Fox Foundation.
Right.
Michael J. Fox, of course, very, very vocal and very much a supporter of the research to go into finding that solution, that cure for Parkinson's disease. What are you looking for? What do you need from people?
What do we need from people? We need people to join the study, and this study is very special because we want people very early in the course of the disease. To get in this study, these have to be people who've been just diagnosed with Parkinson's or not yet taking any medication for Parkinson's disease. And they have to be willing to put in considerable amounts of their own time and energy. It's a very intensive study. It's going to take 5 years. They're going to have to come in every 6 months or more often and be intensively studied. And the third thing we're going to need is we're going to need some healthy volunteers. We're going to need normal controls who are in their 60s and 70s who are also willing to participate and be controls in this study. So,
and those folks are going to be key in that they can offer that snapshot of what's happening out there when you're doing your research.
Right, exactly. And so it's a very time-intensive study. It's going to take people who are really willing to commit to help us find a cure for Parkinson's.
I mean, there's an overall benefit, but for those folks who have just been diagnosed, who become part of this study, the benefit too is you're going to have an incredible amount of data and information for them to kind of track as this disease progresses.
Absolutely,
right?
And this information is going to be shared internationally. This is an international study. It's going to be available to researchers across the world, and I think it's really a critical tool that we need in Parkinson's to move us ahead.
Now, with this research, when you reach the point where you have some kind of blood test or some kind of test that does the early intervention, you say it will also, or the early diagnosis rather, you say that also kind of speeds up that cure.
Right. So if we had a drug we thought was a treatment for Parkinson's, right now I would have to give it to people and wait 5 or 7 years and see how they did. That's just too long. We can't wait that long. What we need is a way to be able to try a treatment, wait 6 months or maybe a year, and assess the effectiveness of that through a scan or through a blood test, and that just moves the whole process forward faster. We really need, everyone in the field wants us to move more quickly towards a cure for Parkinson's.
Really a cutting edge. It sounds like a cutting edge study. 877-836-8108. That's the phone number, 877-836-8108. If you want to look into being a part of this study. I think you're looking for 20 people with Parkinson's.
And 10 controls.
And 10 healthy folks who don't have that.
Right.
Dr. Standaert, thank you so much for being with us today. Good luck with your work.
Okay.